Welcome to ComfortTV.channel news, bringing you verified and balanced news from Nigeria and around the world. My name is Faith Kevin. Thank you for joining us. In the headlines, Governor Mbah dumps PDP for APC. National Assembly proposes optional use of PVCs. Senator Umahi says late Ukpai's sermons shaped spiritual journey of many Christians. Rivers APC says campaign against Minister of Interior won't work. Rights group urges police to ensure justice in alleged 16 million naira visa fraud case. Nigeria and China deepen film diplomacy to boost cultural bonds. On business news, FCCPC hails CBN's directive on 48-hour refund of failed ATM transactions. Nigeria pushes for $2 trillion trade at IMF and World Bank meetings. On the foreign scene, Venezuela to close its Norwegian embassy after opposition leader wins Nobel Peace Prize. Pope urges Italy to remain open to migrants. And on sports, Millie Bright announces international retirement, and Cape Verde becomes second smallest nation to reach World Cup. Now the news. Enugu State Governor Peter Mbah has officially defected from the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressives Congress. The governor made the declaration during a statewide broadcast, describing the decision as necessary step to connect Enugu and the Southeast region to the central government in Abuja. He also stressed that his defection is in the best interest of the region, adding that things still unfolding. He added that his move to the APC was driven by a desire to serve the people of Enugu more effectively and to align with the party's broader vision for development and progress. Governor Mbah thanked the PDP for providing him with a platform on which he campaigned and won the 2023 governorship election. The governor crossed over with members of the State Executive Council, House of Assembly, local government chairmen, councillors, and other political appointees. Speaking earlier, the APC National Chairman Netanyahu Wada said Governor Mbah's decision reflected the ruling party's growing influence in the southeast and its resolve to strengthen its presence ahead of the 2027 election. Members of the National Assembly have proposed an amendment to the Electoral Act that would make the use of the permanent voter card (PVC) optional for voters during elections. The proposal contained in a draft of amendment under consideration seeks to revise Sections 18 and 47 of the 2022 Electoral Act, citing limitations in the bimodal voter accreditation system (BVAS), which reportedly does not recognize the microchip embedded in PVCs. It recommends that acceptable means of identification for voter registration include the National Identification Number (NIN), a Nigerian birth certificate, or a Nigerian passport. The proposed changes were discussed during a public hearing convened by the Joint Committee of the National Assembly on Electoral Matters. The introduction of BVAS into Nigeria's election has drawn criticism due to repeated failures in authenticating voters' fingerprints or facial features, particularly in rural areas with weak internet connectivity. Delays in result transmissions during the 2023 general elections and administrative challenges in distributing PVCs have also been cited as concerns. The amendment package also addresses the electronic transmission of results. Section 60, subsection 5 is proposed to require presiding officers to transmit results, including the total number of accredited voters, both electronically and manually. Akin Akinbolu of Yaga Africa, representing civil society organization, emphasized that mandatory electronic transmission would enhance the credibility of election. The Minister of Works, Engineer David Umahi, has mourned the late renowned preacher, Reverend Umar Ukpai, and described him as a teacher of the gospel and a man of immovable faith. The late Reverend Ukpai, until his death, preached the gospel with decades of unwavering devotion. Engineer Dave Umahi, in a condolence he personally signed, expressed shock over the demise of Reverend Ukpai, stressing that his passing has created a vacuum that hurts deeply. He said late Umar Ukpai was a renowned preacher and teacher of the gospel whose insightful sermons helped in shaping the spiritual journey of many Christians worldwide. The minister said the late Reverend will be remembered for his untiring commitment towards promoting the flourishing of the Word of God. The Works Minister further requested the family of the deceased to take solace in the fact evangelists lived a godly life that touched many lives positively. The spokesperson of the All Progressives Congress APC in Rivers State, Mr. Darlington Nwoju, has described the renewed and coordinated attacks on the Minister of Interior, Dr. Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, by what he termed desperate politicians as a failed and poorly executed project aimed at distracting a performing public servant. Mr. Nwoju, in a statement released to the press, expressed disappointment over what he called a calculated campaign of calumny against the minister, noting that such antics are typical of those threatened by progressive reforms and genuine service delivery. He emphasized that those behind the smear campaign have failed to substantiate their allegations with any credible evidence, thereby exposing their motives as politically driven and malicious. He recalled that a group named Concerned Nigerians in the Diaspora, United Kingdom, recently called for the suspension of Dr. Tunji-Ojo over issues that have long been addressed, debated, and laid to rest in the public domain. According to him, the attempt to resurrect the already resolved matter regarding the Minister's National Youth Service Corps NYSC certificate is both laughable and baseless, as there is clear and incontrovertible proof that the minister was duly mobilized and served in accordance with the law. He further praised the minister for his visible and verifiable reforms within the Ministry of Interior, especially in areas such as the modernization of passport processing, improved service delivery, and institutional transparency. According to him, the positive transformation currently witnessed in the ministry stands as a testament to Dr. Tunji-Ojo's competence, vision, and commitment to national progress. Mr. Nwoju urged Nigerians to disregard the antics of detractors who were only out to score cheap political points. He added that the APC in Rivers State stands firmly behind Dr. Tunji-Ojo and recognizes his contributions to the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration. The Human Rights Writers Association of Nigeria, HURIWA, has called on the police to intensify efforts to ensure accountability and justice in the ongoing 16 million naira visa fraud case involving Ms. Hadiza Baffa. Ms. Baffa allegedly collected about 16 million naira from several individuals under the pretext of securing Saudi Arabian visas for the Lesser Hajj Umrah. When the visas reportedly failed to materialize, the affected persons filed a criminal complaint before a magistrate court in the Federal Capital Territory (FCT), which directed the Zuba Police Division to investigate the matter. Police sources confirmed that the suspect was later invited for questioning, during which he allegedly admitted to receiving funds from some complainants and requested time to refund the money before being released on bail. However, subsequent reports indicated that she became unreachable, prompting renewed police efforts to locate her. In a statement, HURIWA's national coordinator, Mr. Emmanuel Onwubiko, urged members of the public to remain vigilant and verify information before engaging in any financial transactions. The association described the case as serious and deserving of transparency and urgency, warning that such allegations could erode public trust. HURIWA reaffirmed its confidence in the Nigerian police force to handle the case professionally and reiterated its stance against the dissemination of false information, cyber harassment, and online character attacks that undermine reputations and public confidence. As of press time, Ms. Baffa had not responded to messages sent to her WhatsApp number. Nigerian and Chinese officials, filmmakers, and cultural lovers gathered for a symposium entitled Promoting Cultural and Economic Diplomacy Through Film. The event, jointly organized by the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs (NIIA), the Chinese Consulate General, and creative industry partners, spotlighted how cinema is playing a bigger role than ever in strengthening Nigerian-China film diplomacy. Representing NIIA, research professor Femi Otubanjo emphasized that Nigeria is now leveraging Nollywood and its growing entertainment sector, not just for local consumption, but as a tool for projecting soft power globally. He noted historical parallels when culture and film were used in foreign policy during earlier decades, saying Nigeria is now shaping its own narrative on the world stage. Chinese Consul General in Lagos, Yang Yuqing, describes film as a universal language, highlighting China's film heritage alongside Nollywood's expanding reach. She referenced previous Chinese film festivals held in Lagos and urged that cooperation in production, training and infrastructure could benefit both sides. Policymakers present urge frameworks to support local artists and engineers in the film sector, better infrastructure for cinemas, and stronger legal protection like enforcing intellectual property rights. These suggestions align with Nigeria's creative economy goals and ambitions to strengthen its film diplomacy with China. ComfortTV.channel's news returns shortly with business, foreign, and sports news. Many thanks for staying tuned. This is ComfortTV.channel news. On business news, Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission (FCCPC) has set the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) draft guidelines requiring all banks to refund customers for failed automated telemachine ATM transactions within 48 hours was commendable. The Commission stated that the exposure of CBN's draft guidelines followed FCCPC's Consumer Complaints Data Report published in September 2025. The report, which covered the period from March to August 2025, showed that the banking and fintech sectors accounted for the highest number of complaints nationwide, with over 3,000 cases in banking alone and about 10 billion naira recovered for customers across 30 sectors. FCCPC said in a statement issued by Director of Corporate Affairs Ondaje Ijagwo that the findings highlighted recurring issues such as failed transactions, unauthorized deductions, and delayed refunds, all of which the CBN draft guidelines sought to address. Executive Vice Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of the FCCPC, Mr. Tunji Bello, described the proposal as a timely and long-awaited correction to a persistent consumer challenge. Bello stated that even at the draft stage, it demonstrated stronger alignment between regulatory agencies' commitment to consumer protection. FCCPC further advocated the prompt adoption and implementation of the proposed directive, as its early enforcement would provide immediate relief to consumers who continue to experience delayed or unresolved electronic transaction reversals. Still on business, Nigeria has joined other Commonwealth nations in a push to unlock $2 trillion trade agenda aimed at deepening economic ties, strengthening resilience, and fostering sustainable growth across member countries. This was contained in a statement signed by Director, Information and Public Relations, Federal Ministry of Finance, Mohammed Manga, FCAI. According to the statement, the initiative was a key highlight at a high-level meeting of Commonwealth finance ministers held on the sidelines of the World Bank and International Monetary Fund (IMF) annual meetings in Washington, D.C. According to the Commonwealth Secretariat, intra-Commonwealth trade is on average 21% cheaper than trade with non-member countries, largely due to shared language, legal systems, and institutional frameworks that reduce transaction costs. The Secretariat projects that trade among member nations could grow to $2 trillion by 2030, provided the right investments are made in connectivity, trade facilitation, and innovation. Nigeria's Minister of State for Finance, Dr. Doris Uzoka Anite, speaking during the occasion, discussed emphasizing Nigeria's commitment to support the Commonwealth's development agenda and called for increased funding to accelerate progress towards poverty reduction, job creation, and sustainable economic transformation. On the foreign scene, Venezuela has announced the closure of its embassy in Norway just days after the South American country's opposition leader was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in Oslo. In a statement, Nicolas Maduro's government said the country will also close its Australian embassy as part of a strategic reassignation of resources. The announcement comes just days after the Nobel Committee in Oslo announced Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado had won the 2025 Nobel Peace Prize for fighting for democracy in the South American country. Ms. Machado dedicated the prize to U.S. President Donald Trump at a time of escalating tensions between Caracas and Washington over several deadly U.S. military strikes on vessels off its Caribbean coast, which Washington alleges were carrying drugs. Both Norway and Australia are U.S. allies. Norway's foreign ministry said it had received notice of the embassy's closure, but no reason for the decision. The Venezuelan government said that following the closures in Norway and Australia, new embassies would open in Burkina Faso and Zimbabwe. The governments of Zimbabwe and Burkina Faso are more aligned with that of Russia, which has supported Venezuela at the United Nations and accused the U.S. of acting according to the cowboy principle of shoot first. The Venezuelan government said consular services to Venezuelans in Norway and Australia would be provided by diplomatic missions, with details to be shared in the coming days. Still on the foreign scene, Pope Leo XIV has thanked Italy for its efforts to combat human trafficking, but urged the country to remain open to welcoming and integrating migrants as he took part in a pump-filled meeting with the Italian president. Pope Leo completed the rite of passage for every new pope by traveling across Rome to the Quirinal Palace for a meeting with President Sergio Mattarella. Escorted by the presidential horse honor guard into the palace courtyard, Leo thanked Italy especially for its welcome of pilgrims during the 2025 Holy Year, which has seen millions of extra tourists pouring into the Eternal City. Wearing his former red cape and brocaded stole, the Pope thanked Italy for its generous assistance to migrants and its efforts to combat human trafficking. The right-wing government of Italian Premier Giorgia Meloni has made cracking down on illegal migration a priority, including by sending migrants back home or to detention facilities in Albania and prosecuting alleged smugglers. Premier Meloni and her hardline minister Matteo Salvini were in the front row of the audience held in a gilded reception room of the palace, with extra tall palace guards standing at attention. Italy's headline stance on migration has often conflicted with Pope Francis' call for wealthier countries to welcome, defend and integrate newcomers, a position Pope Leo repeated in the first main teaching document. On sports, England defender and former captain Millie Bright has announced her retirement from international football, bringing an end to a remarkable career with the Lionesses. The 32-year-old confirmed her decision, citing the physical and mental demands of elite football as key reasons for stepping away. She said she could no longer give 100% mentally or physically to the national team after a challenging spell with injuries, including a recent knee operation. The Chelsea centre-back made 88 appearances for England, scoring 6 goals, and was a central figure in the team's recent successes, including their Euro 2022 triumph, a World Cup final appearance in 2023, and bronze at the 2019 World Cup. Bright, who captained England during last year's World Cup campaign, said her focus now turns fully to her club career with Chelsea, where she remains a key figure under manager Emma Hayes. Her retirement follows a series of recent high-profile departures from the England squad, including goalkeeper Mary Earps and midfielder Frank Kirby, signaling the end of an era for the Lionesses' golden generation. In her farewell statement, Bright expressed gratitude to fans, teammates and coaching staff, describing her time with the national team as an honor beyond words. The Football Association has praised her leadership, commitment and contribution to women's football, calling her a true role model on and off the pitch. Bright will continue to play for Chelsea, where she has won multiple Women's Super League titles and FA Cups, and has hinted that she intends to finish her club career there. Still on sport, Cape Verde has become the second smallest nation to reach the World Cup after the islanders beat Eswatini 3-0 at home. Victory meant the Blue Sharks secured top spot in their qualifying group and a place at the 2026 finals ahead of continental heavyweights Cameroon. Dylon Livramento opened the scoring for the hosts in Praia, turning home a loose ball inside the 6-yard box early in the second half, and Willie Semedo volleyed in a second soon afterwards. Veteran defender Stopira added the third in stoppage time before the full-time whistle sparked joyous scenes of celebrations at the 15,000 capacity National Stadium. An archipelago of 10 islands in the Atlantic Ocean with a population of just under 525,000 according to the latest figure from the World Bank, Cape Verde gained independence from Portugal in 1975 and first attempted to reach the 2002 World Cup hosted in Japan and South Korea. The team have punched above their weight in the Africa Cup of Nations, AFCON in recent years, reaching the quarterfinals on debut in 2013 and again in 2023, and currently sit 70th in the world rankings. Cape Verde President Jose Maria Neves was in attendance as the home crowd endured a nervy first period in which Livramento sent an effort wide and Jamiro Monteiro was denied by Eswatini goalkeeper Kanyakwez Wesha Balala. But the tension lifted as soon as Livramento broke the deadlock 3 minutes into the second half, prompting passionate celebrations with the crowd, which were repeated when Semedo converted Dani's knockdown. And that's our news bulletin for today. But before we go, here is a recap of our top stories. Governor Mbah dumps PDP for APC. National Assembly proposes optional use of PVCs. Senator Umahi says little pious sermons shaped spiritual journey of many Christians. Rivers APC says campaign against Minister of Interior won't work. Right group urges police to ensure justice in alleged 16 million naira visa fraud case. Nigeria and China deepen film diplomacy to boost cultural bonds. On business news, FCCPC hails CBN's directive on 48-hour refund of failed ATM transactions. On the foreign scene, Venezuela to close its Norwegian embassy after opposition leader wins Nobel Peace Prize. And on sports, Millie Bright announces international retirement. Thanks for watching. For breaking news, exclusive interviews and more, follow us online at ComfortTV.channel on our platforms. Remember to like and share our videos, subscribe to our channel and click on the notification bell so you don't miss out on any updates. My name is Faith Kevin. Until next time, stay informed, stay connected.